look, older generations probably think that all we do is chill, right? Like, they see us sitting in our rooms playing games or whatever, and they just assume we are slacking off and taking it easy. But in reality, I think we are a generationally stressed out group of people, because a lot of people our age, especially teenagers and people in their early 20s, still don't understand that it is entirely possible to do absolutely nothing all day and still get zero rest, like literally zero chill. The type of downtime most people indulge in these days is like the equivalent of going on vacation for a weekend, but you go with your absolute most chaotic, degenerate friends. You know what I mean? You take a Monday off, so you have this nice long 3-day weekend. But when you come back on Tuesday, do you actually feel rested? Or do you feel like a hollowed out shell of the version of you that left on Friday? Because it was just an absolute bender, you didn't sleep, and you were just constantly stimulated. This is the exact same thing that is happening with your day-to-day downtime right now. I truly believe it is a rare skill to know how to actually chill in this day and age. And the stakes are really high, bro, because if you don't figure this out now, you are going to spend the best years of your life operating at like 40% capacity. You will be physically tired, mentally wired, and you won't even know why. So first things first, if we even want to talk about chilling, we have to fix our mindset. Because if you are anything like me, you are probably constantly feeling this weird, creeping guilt every single second you aren't being productive. You know the feeling, right? You sit down to watch a movie or just look at the ceiling, and in the back of your head, this little voice is like, oh, you should be studying. You should be working on that project. You should be optimizing your life. We have been totally compromised by hustle culture and big self-help, which is fine. I fall for it too. This used to haunt me, and honestly, it still does to some extent. I think it is because I spend so much time grinding that I have this inner guilt now when I actually try to do nothing. But this mindset ends up just destroying you, because if you want to get into the psychology of it, even if you are telling yourself that every single second of your day needs to be optimal, if you never get rest, if you never relax, then you will never know what it feels like to operate at 100%. Your nervous system will never get a break. And the nervous system, I am convinced, is the key. If you can get your nervous system under control right now, you can get anything under control. But let's start with the main thing that I think prevents our generation from recharging properly. I am gonna call it divided consciousness. Back in the day, when people were done with a long day of farming or whatever the heck they were doing, they had no choice but to power the brain down after it was over. Like, what else were they gonna do? Stare at a wall? There was nothing else to even do. But for us, after a long, potentially stressful day of classes or work, what do we actually do? Our monkey brains do not view playing a competitive game while simultaneously listening to a podcast and occasionally checking Discord on a second monitor as relaxing. During this free time where your mind should be getting a breather, you are putting your brain to work even harder just so you can stim on your phone. And this is it, bro. This realization has been life-changing for me. When I am doing two things at once, or even thinking about doing two things at once, my brain might be getting cheap dopamine, but it is not resting. Singular consciousness is what is actually relaxing. But the second I throw on music, open up a game, and have my phone on my desk buzzing, I am doing three things at once, and it is no longer relaxing. I lose that singular focus that recharges my mental battery. And I think I might have just been fried for taking so long to realize this, but I feel like a lot of people still haven't picked up on it yet. In order to recharge your brain, you have to focus your consciousness on one thing. But as a generation, we have basically lost the ability to do that naturally. We get bored and we try to avoid boredom and silence like the plague, when silence is the exact thing our brain is begging for. My theory is that the active use of social media makes singular consciousness basically impossible. Even if you are not scrolling all day, even if you just peek at it for 2 minutes before going to do something else, it messes with you. I have to be real with you guys. Earlier this year, I went on this crazy, absolute 72-hour editing bender for a national AI film festival competition. I had this short film about an Uzbek family in the Rajasthan in Samarkand, and I wanted it to be perfect. So I was just locked in for 3 days straight, just pure hyper focus, no sleep, running on fumes. And when I finally finished it and got second place, which was awesome by the way, I realized my brain was just completely deep fried. So what did I do to relax? You would think I would just sleep for 2 days, right? But no, I laid in bed and I opened up short form content. I just wanted to scroll for a bit, let my brain turn off. But within maybe 10 minutes, I actually felt myself slipping into a worse place. I felt this low-level anxiety creeping back in, because even though I was physically doing nothing, my consciousness was being yanked in 100 different directions by 15-second clips. It is like these apps spawn a little rat in your brain that just runs around all day going, yo, check your DMs, check the notifications, smell the cheese. And when you give into that, it is like poking a hole in your energy tank. You need to protect your energy. Things that are truly relaxing are simple, dude. It can be anything, as long as it is just one thing. But first, you have to literally tell yourself that you deserve to chill. If you don't, and you are thinking, man, I should really be doing something else right now, there goes your singular consciousness. Suddenly, you are stressing for no reason. This is why doing just one simple thing is so important. For me to truly relax, I need to get into this headspace where I say, yeah, there are a million things I could be doing right now. I could be working, I could be studying, I could be out. But in this exact present moment, what I am doing right now is exactly what I need to do. And if you actually do this, when you go back out into the real world, you are going to be operating on such a higher level. So like, just chill, watch an old movie, go for a slow walk, play a game, but just play the game. Don't pull up a second monitor, embrace the slower pace. There doesn't always need to be an objective or some grand outcome. That is something I struggle with so much, needing an outcome for everything. But that prevents real rest. Let's look at it from a slightly more physical side. Think of your nervous system like an HP bar or a stamina meter in a game. Every day you wake up with a certain amount of stamina. You go to school, you spend stamina. You deal with drama, you spend stamina. You are taking heavy classes, right? Like sitting there trying to solve calculus integrals or wrapping your head around kinematics and work energy principles in physics class. That drains your mental stamina. You are studying for exams, like cramming grammar rules 2 days before the digital SAT. You spend all that stamina, and then you go home, and it should be time to regenerate that HP. But in this modern world, you come home and you don't recharge anything. You just spend more stamina scrolling, overstimulating yourself. Then the next day you wake up with an HP deficit, and it bleeds into the next day. And it builds and builds until we wonder how it is possible to feel so stressed out over literally nothing. Things can be going totally fine in your life, but you are walking around with your shoulders tense, your jaw clenched, just tweaking out because your nervous system is begging for a pause button. So how do we fix the physical side of this? Honestly, one of the best realizations I have had is the power of just acting like a caveman. I know it sounds dumb, but if you follow the caveman blueprint, your baseline stress drops massively. First thing is the sun. We wonder why we are tweaked out when we sit in our dark rooms all day staring at screens. The sun regulates your whole system. Start your day by just looking outside. Don't look at your phone in the dark off the rip. Your body doesn't even know it is morning yet. It processes that blue light as just some weird, stressful event. The second caveman ability is moving heavy stuff. This sedentary lifestyle we live is destroying us. Lifting or exercising is how we get rid of that nervous, pent-up energy. I will be real, when my stress is peaking, I rely heavily on basic physical strength training. I will go hit a bunch of pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, horizontal pulls, and then just some heavy barbell and hammer curls for the biceps. Just getting that raw physical exertion out. Because if you don't put that energy somewhere, you become a tweaker. Little things become a huge deal. You get snappy with people. You overreact to minor inconveniences. But when you get a good workout in, all that tension just vanishes. You get out of your head. It is really hard to overthink a text message or a bad grade when you are physically exhausted in a good way. It forces you into the present moment. Most people our age are walking around mentally tired but physically wired, and that is a recipe for absolute disaster. But look, I have to add a disclaimer here. Don't let relaxing become another thing you stress over. If you become obsessed with tracking your sleep, your stress levels, and making sure your relaxation is perfectly optimized, you are just bugging out in the opposite direction. I have done that. I have had stretches where I isolated myself just to keep my routine perfect, and it was miserable. Sometimes what your nervous system needs is not what your soul needs. Sometimes you just need to get out of your room, go hang out with your brother or your friends, stay up a little too late laughing, and just live. Will you be tired the next day? Yeah, but it is a good tired. At the end of the day, all of this is just about treating yourself with some respect. Prioritizing rest gives you such a massive advantage in this perma-fried online world we live in. Don't be a lazy sloth, obviously, but you cannot just grind endlessly without breaking. It doesn't work. Nobody wants to be around a stressed out, anxious mess. Be the chill homie that everyone actually needs right now. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thanks for sticking around and listening. Peace out. And honestly, I just want to keep talking about this for a second because it runs so much deeper than just putting your phone away, you know? Like, we talk about the grind and we talk about the burnout, but we never really talk about the silent moments in between where the damage actually happens. Think about the last time you were waiting for something, maybe waiting in line or waiting for a friend to text you back. What did you do for those 30 seconds? Did you just stand there and exist? No, you probably pulled out your phone and started checking apps that you already checked 5 minutes ago. It has become a reflex, a literal muscle memory to escape the present moment, because the present moment is quiet, and quiet is terrifying to a brain that is used to constant noise, and it is not even our fault, really. The engineers who built these platforms literally studied slot machines to figure out how to keep us hooked. They know exactly what colors, what sounds, what rhythm of content delivery will keep us swiping. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry designed to farm human attention. So when you sit down and try to just relax and your brain starts screaming for stimulation, you have to realize that is withdrawal. You are literally experiencing dopamine withdrawal. And the only way to beat it is to sit through the discomfort, which sucks. It really does suck. The first few times you try to just sit in silence or go for a walk without music, it feels agonizing. Your brain is desperately looking for a problem to solve or a screen to stare at. But if you can just push past that initial wave of boredom, you eventually break through to this profound sense of peace. It is like the mental fog finally lifts and you can actually hear your own thoughts again. And speaking of thoughts, I feel like we don't even have our own thoughts anymore. Half the things we worry about aren't even our own problems. They are problems we absorbed from a 30-second video about someone else's drama on the other side of the planet. Our empathy and our outrage are being constantly hijacked. So our nervous system is reacting to global crises, personal scandals, and internet beef, all while we are just sitting safely in our bedrooms eating cereal. It is a completely unnatural state of being, and our biology hasn't caught up to our technology. We still have the same brains as people who lived thousands of years ago, but we are processing more information in a single day than they processed in an entire lifetime. No wonder we are exhausted. No wonder we forgot how to relax. So the next time you feel that heavy exhaustion weighing you down, don't try to cure it with more content. Don't try to cure it by opening another tab or starting another game. Just turn it all off. Lay on the floor, look at the ceiling, and let yourself be bored for once. I promise you, it is the greatest gift you can give your overworked mind. Just try it out and see how it feels. And you know, another thing that really gets me about all this is how we treat our hobbies now. Like, it used to be that a hobby was just something you did for fun with zero stakes attached to it. You just did it because you liked it. But now, if you are somewhat good at something, the immediate expectation is that you need to monetize it or turn it into a side hustle or broadcast it to the world. Like, if you are into photography, people are like, oh, you should start a business. Or if you like making little art projects, they tell you to open an online shop. It is like we are not allowed to just enjoy things in a vacuum anymore. Everything has to be productive. Everything has to have an ROI, a return on investment, and that strips the joy and the relaxation completely out of the activity. Suddenly, your relaxing hobby is just a second job with deadlines and pressure. And if it doesn't get enough likes or views or sales, you feel like a failure for something that was supposed to be your escape from failure. It is a vicious cycle, and it completely ruins the concept of unwinding. I mean, think about gaming. Back in the day, you would just hop on a server with your friends, mess around, build a dirt house, laugh your head off, and log out. But now there is this underlying pressure to be optimal, to grind ranked matches, to unlock every single achievement or battle pass tier before the season ends. The games themselves have been designed to feel like obligations. Daily quests, login bonuses, streaks. It is all psychological manipulation to turn your leisure time into a chore. So you finish your actual school or work, and then you clock into your virtual job to make sure you don't lose your virtual streak. It is exhausting, man. It really is. And we don't even realize how deeply it affects our baseline level of stress because it has become the new normal. We just accept that this low-grade anxiety is how life is supposed to feel, but it is not. You have to consciously reject it. You have to actively fight for your right to do absolutely nothing of value. It is an act of rebellion, honestly. Just existing without producing or consuming anything. Just being a human being, breathing air, looking at the sky, and letting time pass without feeling guilty about it. So yeah, I really just wanted to drive that point home because I see so many of my friends and just people our age completely burning out before they even reach 25, and it is heartbreaking to watch. We have so much life ahead of us, and we shouldn't be spending it running on an endless treadmill of digital validation and artificial milestones. So please, just take a step back, breathe, let go of the invisible pressure, and rediscover what it actually means to rest. And honestly, another huge part of this is how we communicate with each other nowadays. Like, text messaging and social media have completely warped our sense of availability. Back in the day, when you left school or left work, you were just gone. You were unreachable. You could actually disconnect from society and recharge your social battery in peace. But now, we carry these glowing rectangles in our pockets that basically demand we be accessible 24/7. You get a message, and there is this unspoken expectation that you need to reply immediately. And if you don't, you get the anxiety of leaving someone on read or the guilt of knowing you are ignoring them. So even when you are trying to relax by yourself, you have this tether to the expectations of everyone else in your life pulling at you. It is like you are never truly alone anymore, which sounds nice in theory, but in practice, it is incredibly draining. Your social battery is constantly leaking energy because you are always on standby, waiting for the next notification, the next crisis, the next meme you have to react to. It takes real discipline to put the phone on Do Not Disturb and actually mean it. To tell the world, hey, I am clocking out for the next 5 hours and whatever happens, happens. But that discipline is necessary. It is absolutely necessary for your mental survival because the world will take every ounce of attention you are willing to give it, and it will never say thank you. It will just ask for more. So you have to be the one to draw the line. You have to be the gatekeeper of your own peace and your own relaxation. And part of that means getting comfortable with missing out. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, is one of the biggest drivers of this chronic exhaustion. We are so afraid that if we unplug for a weekend, we are going to miss an important event or an inside joke or some viral cultural moment. But let me tell you a secret, none of it actually matters. If you miss a viral video or a meme trend, you will survive. If you take a few hours to reply to a text, the world will keep spinning. Prioritizing your own mental health and your own rest is infinitely more important than being plugged into the endless stream of digital consciousness. So stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. Stop comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's highlight reel and just focus on finding your own quiet center. Find that place where you can just exist without expectations, without pressure, and without the constant hum of the internet buzzing in your ear. That is the real goal. That is what we should all be striving for. Not perfect productivity, not endless optimization, but true, authentic, sustainable rest. So I hope this video actually resonated with some of you and maybe gave you the push you needed to close out of your apps, turn off your monitor, and go get some real, actual rest. Your future self will thank you for it. All right, peace out.